Very fake news.
You can put half of Trump's supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables.
You know, if I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon.
I want to talk about words and how much words really matter. I think we should really think before we speak. We're at a really ugly place where we kind of can't even talk to each other. And there are a lot of lines in the sand, whether political, religious, sexual orientation, gender, whatever. There's just a lot of lines in the sand, and I think they're becoming deeper and wider. There were a few things that were said by the leaders and the prospective leaders of our free world. Yeah, people that were trying to run for office. You forget that everyone doesn't think like you, I think. I remember the tragedy when Trayvon Martin was killed by George Zimmerman in Miami with the Florida Stand Your Ground rule, Stand Your Ground law. I think everyone knows about that. So I'm not going to get into that deep here. But what I will say is everyone was trying to figure out what happened. President Obama made a comment and I immediately dropped my head.
But my main message is to the parents of Trayvon Martin. You know, if I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon.
When he made the comment, because I knew what he meant and I knew what he was trying to say, but I knew what his comment was going to do to the country. He said, if I had a son, he would look like Trayvon.
You know, if I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon.
And I immediately thought, true, you are 100% right. And that's one edge of the sword. But sometimes the sword cuts both ways. And when he said that, I knew he also was creating a racial divide. Now, I'm not saying that he should not have said it. This is not a channel where I'm going to debate what somebody should have said or try to police it. But I'm just saying, I'm just trying to cite that, oh man, yeah, when you said that, you also did this. And that's a very real thing. We became very divided as a country, and for the longest time, I think everyone thought George Zimmerman was a white cop. And I'm like, well, he's not white, one, but two, he's not even a police officer. So it created this weird separation between black people and white people. And the comment also divided the citizens from the cops. So regular versus blue. When it was a tragedy, a power-hungry guy that should have lived, that decided to disobey orders from police to leave the kid alone. I'm going to take matters into my own hands. So just tripping, just a guy that's just straight tripping, and he killed him. And I'm like, man, that's really bad. But I'm like, oh geez, but that comment, if I had a son, he'd look like Trayvon. Damn, that's going to hurt us for a while. Anyway, off President Obama, there was another comment, Donald Trump saying fake news, fake news, fake news.
Ask you, sir.
I'm changing it from fake news, though.
Doesn't that undermine?
Very fake news.
I know, but aren't you?
Again, maybe he's not wrong about it being fake news. I told you guys in the other video about editorializing and how opinion editors like Sean Hannity and Rachel Maddow, their shows are really about their personal opinions on things. That's cool, but you got to know that's what it is. And when the president just says fake news, fake news, fake news,
very fake news,
and then sends out his own tweets with his own spin on them, with his own brand of fake news, it's like no one knows anything because none of us were in the room when deals were made or this was brokered or that was brokered. No one knows anything. But if he just keeps shouting fake news, fake news, fake news,
very fake news.
The other edge of that sword is the fact that people will stop trusting the media. They'll think that they're informed from their social media, because you might lump in places like, I know NPR is a little bit left-leaning, but it's not left-leaning like CNN is left-leaning. I know Fox News is right-leaning, but Fox News is also not right-leaning like, I don't know, Breitbart.com or something. I'm just pulling something out of my head, or like Alex Jones TV or something. I don't know. Your words matter. So always yelling fake news, you're creating an environment where no one's going to trust the news when the news is actually news. So there's going to be a division between the media, and then the media is just gonna wanna like just get the biggest headline, and I don't know, it's just, that's bad. Oh, remember when Hillary Clinton called people deplorable? She said half the country are deplorables or something.
You could put half of Trump supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables. Right? The racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, you name it.
Maybe that's true. I don't know. I know that a lot of people do a lot of like bad things, not smart things and stuff like that. I mean, that's what I would reasonably characterize as deplorable, like a murderer or something like that. I wouldn't necessarily say a Republican or a Democrat is a deplorable person. I think that people are probably more complex than that to just be able to just lump them in and just call them all deplorable.
You could put half of Trump supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables.
If Hillary was right or wrong about that, there's another edge to that sword, and that sword is gonna cut both ways. And while you might get, let's say, half of the country that are not deplorables or that agree with you on your side and feeling good and all of that, that sword cuts the other way, and there are gonna be people in the country that are like, hey, I'm not deplorable, I just don't agree with you on this or that.
The racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, you name it.
And I think that probably lost her the election. That was probably one of the key things that actually lost her the election, just the whole deplorable comment. That was a really difficult one to heap on half of the United States. That was really tough. We gotta think about our words. Let's see, what else? Oh man. Remember that senator that screamed out, Barack Obama, you're a liar.
The reforms I'm proposing would not apply to those who are here illegal.
You're a liar. He screamed it on like the halls of the Senate floor, something, some crap. I don't know if it was the Senate or the House or wherever, but he just screamed, liar.
Illegal.
At President Obama. And I'm like, oh, I forget what the exact issue was, but I do think the president did say something that was either not true or he embellished on or he didn't have all the facts about. That was a true statement in that the president possibly didn't say something that was accurate. But you can call him a liar if you want, but just know that the fact that you decided to publicly criticize the office of the president in that way,
Illegal.
so loudly,
Illegal.
so vehemently,
Illegal.
now all of a sudden people think you're racist. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't.
And some of the Republicans responded with some tough words of their own. In fact, one Republican congressman, could be heard saying, "You lie."
That's right. It was very clearly heard, "You lie." Harder to see from my vantage point. We have a pretty good idea of who this Republican congressman was, but we want to wait to be absolutely sure before we name him. So
you didn't have cordial and professional discourse with the president in the right way. So you may have been right about him lying. I don't remember exactly what it was. Doesn't matter, not to my point right now. Because let's just say hypothetically, let's say the president did lie. Presidents lie. I think they all probably do. If what he said was a lie, the way that you went about it was unreasonable. It showed your pettiness. It removed levels of respect that the White House needed to have and hold. It damaged relations between the right side of the aisle and the left side of the aisle, because now all of a sudden we yell at each other, we call each other liar, thanks to what you did. The rest of that presidency, there was a lower level of respect, for sure, at the very least. I don't want to go into, people treated him this way or that way. I don't want to do that. It's not the channel for that. But what I will say is the level of respect did diminish. And now, look at the level of respect President Trump is getting. President Trump gets no respect, regardless of whether he deserves it or not. That's not the point of this video. The point of this video is the discourse used to go a certain way. People used to be able to disagree without yelling. The racist president, bigot president, misogynistic president, black president, white president. Everything is so bad now because words matter. The words that were used or weren't used, they set the tone. The office of the president has little respect. I remember George Bush being called dumb. Like, I mean, an actual idiot. Like, I mean, people were like, oh my gosh, dumbest president ever, all of these things. And I'm just like, well, dumbest president ever, to screaming out liar, to calling him openly, you're a racist, Mr. President, or whatever. And all of those things, like, that guy didn't have any proof. Like, no one had, obviously George Bush isn't an idiot. Obviously he's not an idiot. He may not have the highest IQ, but he's not an idiot. And obviously Barack Obama he could have misspoken, but him out and out lying, I mean, he could have done that too, but that's not the way. And maybe Donald Trump is a racist, but to yell and call him that without any proof, it's just like we just keep going down farther and farther. And I'm just I don't feel great about where we're gonna ultimately end up as we keep sliding down this hill of disrespect with each other. And I just wish that we could find a way to just get back to some level of disrespect where people could actually discuss things with one another. I think that'd be cool. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. And, you know, don't beat me up too bad for what I said about some of these people.